What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's restoration tutorial, we're gonna take this $250 stroller right here that you can find on Marketplace. My brother-in-law restored this, a classic red and white for my niece. And then after she grew out of it, it was passed along to me. And I decided, hey, you know what? I'm gonna make this baby blue for my boy. And then we're gonna take this $250 stroller, $350, and we're gonna turn it into a $5,000 show stroller. I'm gonna walk you through the process, and we're gonna go from this over here to this, and I'll show you exactly in this tutorial, step by step, how I got there, and at the end of the video, I'll show you how I came up with those numbers.
Loresto Paint, y'all. Follow along.
These here are the parts that's gonna get sandblasted and flaked and then painted. Everything here is getting shipped off to Chrome. Got it all sanded down with 320, ready to flake. First off, I'm gonna put some epoxy on it, a 2-part epoxy. Got all the parts hung up here with some old hangers. Urichem 2-part epoxy, 1 pound of Tropical Glitz Lowrider Masters flake laid down. That's about what it took, maybe a little bit less because I did do the refrigerator stand as well. If you want full flake, you're gonna waste a lot. A lot of it's gonna end up on yourself and on the ground. Sometimes you gotta get just a little creative for hanging up small parts. And this here, I just went and bought these here and some washers. I believe it's a 1/4 inch. Doesn't really matter as long as it's smaller and it'll fit through the hole though. So I could put it on here. The washers are the same width as the bearings. And then I can still spin it around as I'm shooting it with the flake. Well, this is epoxy right here, but flake next. And then I've got these dowels, 1/4 inch dowel. I just shaved a little bit off the end there. And then I was able to get these just to stick in there. And then I used a 1/4 inch drill bit, drilled the hole in there and just stuck them right on in there. Then got a little piece of a box here and some more of that wire, stuck it through the 2 holes on the bottom. That way my flake can kind of wrap around. Before sending this off to Chrome, I found some little headlights and tail lights that I decided I was gonna go ahead and put on here. So I did have to drill some 3/8 holes. I'll leave the link in the description. If you've ever thought about doing one of these strollers, The funnest part that I can say, and I'm sure it is sanding it down. So I'm sanding it down with 400 grit. Of course, I got to get in the little grooves. Some of these edges where I'm not able to get in as well, I'm using a maroon Scotch pad, and then we're getting it through there. So you got to make sure it's flat, it's dull, and everything is sanded down and scuffed really well if you're only able to scuff it, because if you don't, that paint's going to lift. But this is where I'm at so far. It's a long and grueling process, and I am just doing a little bit here and there, an hour, hour and a half a day, until I get it all done and sanded down and ready for tape. With all that sanding behind me, here we go with the pattern work. Here's the pattern I came up with. I think it looks awesome with all the moving parts and pieces that don't fully connect and go together. I think this design is probably the best I could have come up with. Whenever you're coming up with your design, make sure that it flows with the body lines of the object that you're painting. So right here, there's a lot of curves, a lot of moving pieces, a lot of small pieces. You're gonna wanna make sure you put it together after you start getting it taped off, because like me, I had to pull it up a couple times just to make sure. I just wasn't happy with that pattern that I laid out. The line wouldn't match, or it didn't go well with a pattern right next to it or part of the pattern. So it's going to take a little bit of tape, a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. Yes, it is tedious, but next up, we're going to start masking this off and start laying some paint on it. I think I'm going to go with the Oriental Blue from House of Color. It'll look great. I painted a skateboard with that, and it looked phenomenal. Next in the process here, we're going to mask off these patterns one by one. Now the first thing you mask right here will be the last thing painted. The first thing you mask will be the last thing you paint. Then we'll move on. We'll mask up the second pattern here. And then around the outside, we'll shoot some small flake. Then we'll hit it with some water drops. Then we're going to reverse mask. We'll reverse mask. We'll mask off the water drops. And then we'll work on painting these patterns one by one. Here's that silver we're gonna hit it with. It is basically just a imitation Orion silver. It's just a base coat. We got 3 coats of inner coat here. It's flashed off. Now we're gonna take some plain old water, plain spray bottle, and we're gonna put some water drops on here. Spray your water drops in here in the area that you want them. The inner coat clear will help the water drops bead up. Now, we're gonna spray some Oriental Blue on these drops. I plan on going from one direction, meaning you're just gonna spray the paint in one direction. If you do both directions and it collides, you'll end up with a little paint TP, and then sometimes the water droplets will not evaporate. Right here, we got 2 coats. So I've went over this twice. Now, the paint, as I was saying earlier, is starting to stick around the edges. And when that dries around the object that you've got the water drops on, it kind of holds the drop. I know I just said that. I wanted to use my finger to point and get a little closer to show you what I'm talking about. Now the drops it'll be a lot harder for them to get blown away, so I wouldn't raise the air at this point, but you can put just a little more product, a little more paint on there. And as you can see, they will even stick to the side. Couple quick tips while I'm going over the results here. We got 4 light misted coats is how much it took. It doesn't take a whole lot. You don't need to power wash it on, just a little bit. So the 2 tips, I went over this with the light silver, with the small flake silver, I should say, the Orion silver, because I found that the water drops, especially with lighter colors, with the big flake underneath, when you get it out in the sun, you almost can't even see the drops, which is kind of cool. It's really a nice subtle effect. But as far as these, I kind of wanted them to pop a little more, so I put that Orion silver underneath, which is going to make the water drops stand out a lot more. And another quick tip, when you're letting these dry, you're usually gonna let them dry overnight, and then we'll hit it with 3 coats of inner coat clear. That'll lock them down. I'll bring you back when we do that. Now, when you're letting them dry overnight, one of the things you're gonna wanna do, if you got it in a garage, you're gonna wanna open that garage door and turn a fan on low, and that'll keep the air circulating, and that will make sure that the drops are nice and dry. First thing I did this morning was mix up some inner coat clear, and I barely missed I take the gun and I step back and I have the gun back about twice as far as I normally would, and then I barely missed it on for 2 coats. That will lock down your drops and keep from blowing the tops of the drops away and making them look bad. And then after that, I went ahead and shot some candy along the outside here. As you can see, of course, I got a couple tape lines on the outside, so I want to make sure those pop whenever I pull them. So I got to put some candy along that. And then I took my gun, pointed it inwards, and then barely missed the blue on the way in. That way I didn't have a big chunk of silver right in the middle. We're gonna put a little bit of shadowing around the first pattern while it's taped up in the center, which I'll walk you through, but we're gonna take this Oriental blue, we're gonna put a little bit in here in the inner coat clear, and then I got a little bit of candy black here. I'm gonna put just a few drops in there until I think it's a shade color that I like. Make sure you break down your guns after each use and do a full cleaning on them. Do a little practice spray right here. If you haven't used an airbrush before, the closer you get to the panel, the tighter your little spray pattern is gonna be, and then the further you scoop back, the wider it's gonna be. So you're gonna start, I'm just gonna hit it right here on the inside of the line. I just barely want it to shadow around the outside. I went ahead and put another little tiny piece of tape here. It's a 0.03, probably the thinnest tape you can buy. It is this right here if you want to get some for like a model car or something super small or just some fine details in your tape work. One thing I would say about this tape is it's awesome, it's cool, it looks great for fine details. You don't want to leave it on here as long as it's vinyl tape. You put this on here, you leave it on here a couple days, you go to peel it off, it's gonna leave a residue. So now, next up, we're gonna go around the outside here to break it up. I'm gonna put just a little bit of white base coat just to kill that flake completely and give that Oriental blue a different shade. We'll put a couple more coats on it, make it a little darker, and then I will hit the inside here with a little bit of that candy blue just to make it kind of fade in. That's how that one's coming out. We're just gonna follow along with the same process there and right over here on these other pieces to make them all match and go together. I got the tape pulled up right around this top part of the pattern. Next up, I'm gonna put some shading around the second part of the patterns. Down to the center here, I'm gonna do something simple, or at least it's gonna start off simple. I'm just gonna go around the outside of it with some candy right there. All these go together. They kind of flow together whenever I bolt it all together. And what I'm gonna do, or what I plan to do, I'm thinking about it, is shooting a flake fade in the center here. I'm gonna use some blue flake rather than silver, so that's why I'm going to leave a lot of silver in the middle and just go over the outside of it with candy. That's how it's looking. I just got one pattern that flows together on the outside, and I went ahead and pulled the tape off the center there, and then I just sprayed the inside. It is ready for some clear. I'll put 3 to 4 coats of clear on here for the first round. We'll be hitting the outside of the patterns here with the small flake, the Orion Silver, and going over it with some blue candy. Got the Orion Silver on there. Here's what she looks like. I just went through the same exact process I went through the rest of it, just making it match. Just wanted to show you where we were at here. And quick tip, when you're shooting your clear over patterns, leaf work, or pinstriping, you are gonna wanna put 2 very light coats of clear to start with, let it flash off good. Otherwise, you run the risk of dieback, sagging. It can do lifting. It can do all kinds of damage to your artwork, and you definitely don't want to start from the beginning on this process. As far as paint goes, we're down to the end here, or pretty much getting close. I just got small miscellaneous pieces that I got taped off. Simple tape designs here. Just some lines going around it. As far as this, the side of the back piece, This is the inner part, super simple. The outer part, a little more complicated as far as pattern design. It came out amazing. I'll flip them around and show you here in a second. But right here, the little balls that the kids play with on the front there, I just put some different size tape lines going around the center. And then the tray, I got the bottom part that I've got to do, but the inside part is already done. Got it all flipped around here, got the tape off. That way I can show you both sides. There's the inside, here's the outside, a lot more detailed. Speaking of details, right over here, fine little details here on the armrest, just a little bit of a tape line there. Here's our handles. We got the T handle and then the regular handle with some shading around the outside of those tape lines. Then we'll come on over here. We got more water drops. I did some more water drops to tie it all in. Here's the little balls here, which if you look super close here, I'll show you. We got some stripes there in the middle. Those are fully flaked as well. And then over here is the tray, which came out phenomenal. Time to get rid of these tape lines. I'm going to use a maroon Scotch pad, multiple maroon Scotch pads to go around the edges here, the outside edges, where the 3-inch DA with the interface sanding pad, which is right here. It's a soft sanding pad so that I can sand around edges without burning through. With a hook and loop 400 grit sandpaper, I will take that and gently sand around the edges of the tape lines. And then for the rest of it, I'll go over it with the maroon Scotch pad. All sanded down, flattened out, cleaned, and re-cleared. Our flow coat came out nicely. We got rid of all the tape lines. This is it in the garage light. Not too sparkly yet, but it's still looking good and shiny. Next up, we're gonna get it assembled. We're gonna get the headlights on there. We're gonna get the tail lights on there. Once it's all assembled, I'm gonna wheel it out into the sunlight here, get some shots of it with all the hard work that we put into this. It's really gonna shine through, and I think you guys are gonna be really happy. I know I am so far, once we get it all put together and I get to showcase it for you here. Before we roll this outside into the sunlight, let's go over these numbers with you real fast. Paint material, about $300. You can pick up one of these strollers on Marketplace for about $200 to $400. Chrome and engraving was $1,284 shipped. The seat, the replacement seat, was $85. The hardware was $175. That was a little bit more because with it being a reclining seat, I had to pick up a couple extra things. The lights were $75. You can find those a little bit cheaper if you want to search around. And my labor, 120 hours at $25 an hour, which is not very much, but that's my shop rate that I'm going to charge people if I'm going to do anything for anyone else, and that's what my days off are worth to me. So that brings you a little over $5,000. So yes, it is a $5,000 stroller. All right, now let's put some light on this stroller and see just how beautiful it is.
Live an extraordinary life. Don't settle on ordinary life. It's easy to be ordinary. Anybody can do that. Find your magnificent obsession. Whatever it is, and let nothing or no one tell you that you can't do it.
Thanks for watching. Tap the thumbs up if you liked it, and smash that subscribe if you want to see more.